Hey everyone, I've got a fun project today. My brother over at the WhatTheRust channel sent me an old drill. It's in its original case. It's kind of an oddball, so let's look at what we've got. Oh wow, the case is coming apart because it's rusted. Assembly and operating instructions. You could use it as a paint mixer or with sanding discs. The drill stand. Did it come with a drill stand? All right, so this, oh yeah, it did come with a drill stand. Look at that. And it came with something. And is that a handle? That's a spare handle. I don't think with this drill you're gonna need a handle. So this is interestingly similar to that guy that I restored. Except for this has got a different body. It looks like it's got a different chuck on it. It does turn. Trigger looks good. This plate is bent. Cord is shot. That's understandable. But anyway, it is a high power model 77J. And what was this guy? So anyway, that's what we're going to work on tonight. I apologize for the echo. My microphone is not working. I actually have a microphone now to plug in, a little lavalier mic, and it's not working. Yeah, this hinge is so stuck that it's splitting the box open. But that's okay. I can't believe it has a spare handle. That's hilarious. I can't imagine this thing has enough power that you'd need it. But I will say, this has a significantly better chuck. And the chuck appears to work. All right, so let's get busy. All right, first thing I want to do is inspect the cord. So I don't know how this comes off. It looks like somebody tried to pry this off. Let's take this. Oh, geez, that's it. So that somebody tried to pry it off, but actually how you get it off is by pulling the belt hooks open. That's the only thing that holds this on. So we're gonna have to straighten this thing out. Two-prong. See, I'm not a big fan of these guys because it's all metal body. It's pretty easy if something goes wrong to get a shock through these. This looks like it may have been rewired at some point and it's past. Let me get a better screwdriver. Okay. All right, let's disconnect the switch. Gotta make sure you can see what I'm doing here. This is the first project I'm doing on this workbench, so I'm not sure on camera angles. My belief is once we disconnect the switch, we'll be able to just slide this whole body down through here and just look at how it all comes together, but that may not be realistic. the switch probably comes in through the bottom. Well, you can kind of see it. This wiring is definitely shot. As I said, it's just a 2-prong, so it's not that hard to do. I think what I'd like to do is put some shrink tubing on this to improve the insulation. All right, so now you can see the wiring much better. All right, we're gonna have to do this in pieces, but let's take this switch off. We gotta remember where these wires go. All right. And just clip it down here, make it easier to keep track of the wires. Not that it makes much of a difference, honestly. It's just a 2-prong cord. All right, let's get this out of the way. Let's look at these guys to unravel them. Now it'll be a little bit more difficult to wrestle with these once I put shrink tubing on them. But at the same time, it will also be a lot more safe electrically. I'm gonna have to do it, I don't have any long pieces of shrink tubing, so I'm gonna have to do it little pieces at a time. Those are pretty small wires. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to shrink these one piece at a time. If I had a long piece, it'd be much better, but all I've got in long pieces is significantly larger than this. It's just very dirty in here. All right, I'll shrink my heat gun. So the wires are pretty much insulated now, from at least the handle and part of the motor housing. Yeah, that's it. There's just one strand in here. It's just bizarre, honestly. But so be it. Right, so the handle goes like that, trigger goes like that. All right. Hence why I really don't trust these types of drills for anything. I guess these fall under the electric screwdriver category, maybe. Like maybe for that, they had enough power, but they didn't have enough power. They didn't have much power for anything. And somebody obviously was unhappy with the chuck that it came with, as was I. On the one I restored earlier, it was terrible. I don't know why this is being so difficult. Okay. I guess because it's two-prong, it really does not matter how we do this. Let's get this piece off. Someone has left in the comments on my snap-on ratchet rebuild to just use a C-clamp to hold the vise down. I should probably have a second one on there, but I don't have a second one handy. But here's what I'm just gonna kind of put this in here and straighten it out. It was a lot easier than I expected, honestly. It's pretty flat. Let's see how it fits in the handle. Pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's close. Let's just take care of this bottom edge and I'll be back. It's a good fit. All right, we should paint this. So first off, I'm just gonna wire brush this thing and get this rough paint off. One spot right there. All right, so we get all that rough paint off. We could probably polish this up, just keep going until it's shiny like that spot right there. But I'm going to paint this hammered black. It was gray originally, but I think it'll look better in black. I'll be right back. You may have noticed in some background shots of this big, ugly, old television stand. It's pretty beat up. I got it for free. It was being thrown away, and so before it got rained on, I picked it up. And why would I take that for my workshop? Because what I'm going to use it for is a little bit of a paint booth. So this is actually a chair where this can come out. I need to get overspray on that. I might use that for something someday. But so I taped up the back so overspray doesn't get on the walls, and that's what I'm going to use it for. So what we're going to use here is we're going to use a matte hammered black. I need to eventually get a turntable here. And I'm not using primer because with hammered paint you don't need to. So I want to get a turntable so I can do this easily. You're not exactly in frame there, are you? Until the handle is painted, I can't really install the cord and the switch. So let's take this front off. I'm gonna need a nut driver for that. Okay. We'll get a look at the gear mechanism. We'll have to check the brushes as well. But this is a good enough time to do this. Scoop out any terrible grease that may be in here. And then, oh, that's interesting. This one appears to be taking the screw out with it. And there's a long screw. Well, there's not much grease in there, honestly. Let me grab a paper towel. Wow. Very little. It's coming out like plastic as well. Let's see how much of this we can actually get out. Look around. There. All right. So since I have it handy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that super lube that I just happen to have around because my axle grease is in my other garage. I haven't moved it in to the shop yet. Okay, so while we're doing this, we're going to clean this up. And so I've got a plastic bin, yeah. A little different than when I do this outside. Take that. Oh, there's a big chunk of grease on there. I'm gonna spray some cleaner on this. Also, this is electrical cleaner, so I'm going to spray it in the switch itself. And then in the motor itself, I'm going to use, this is not WD-40, it's just that, it's dry lube. It's like motor lubricant, but it won't leave, it's interesting. Let's try it like that. It'll clean it, but it won't leave oily residue all over it. There's a lot of gunk coming out of there. Whew. It's completely dried grease on this thing. The other end of this gearbox. Okay. Let me clean in here a little bit. Now, is this thing even going to see any use after I do this? I doubt it. I can't imagine why anyone would want to use one of these. But that's not the point. We'll make it safe, or as safe as these ever were. All right, let's get that off. Let's get this out of the way. So we're just gonna put some grease in there and work it in. All right. Hey everyone, just a brief interruption here. If you're enjoying this content and you'd like to support my channel, and especially if you like cats, I've written a series of chapter books for ages 8 and up, fully illustrated, called Flea Biscuit and Friends. The first book in the series is Flea Biscuit Finds a Home, followed by Flea Biscuit Summer Vacation, and finally, Flea Biscuit's Magic Christmas. They're available at all local booksellers as well as on Amazon.com. I will post a link in the video description. And hey, that's my pitch. Back to the video. Good? Yep, we're good. All right, let me go check. I'm gonna probably put another coat of paint down and I'll be right back. Okay, let's check the brushes. Hopefully this isn't some crazy thing and does that. Exactly what I was wondering, if it was gonna do that. Oh. Well, looks okay. All right, I'm gonna have to take my gloves off for this, because this is one of those you're gonna have to feel your way through it. There is a right way that this has to go in, and I've got to see exactly where it is and make sure I'm doing it. It's magnetic, so it's a little tricky to get it to do it. Alright, I got it in. Alright, so there's not much more I can do right now. I've got to wait for the paint to dry. So then we can polish it up. I suppose I could polish it up now. Generally, I will wire brush the chuck when the drill is running. It makes it a little faster and more uniform, but since I've got to wait for that paint to dry, and that'll probably mean I'll be doing that tomorrow, I'm just going to wire brush the chuck the old-fashioned way. All the rust and everything off that. Got this all cleaned up. Didn't get these threads cleaned up much, so I can't get in there with it. But I may find something to do that. But really, they're not rusty, they're just dirty. All right, I guess really, I could hand polish it. It doesn't really need much. Let's see what I've got. I'll be back. So I'm going to use Chemical Guys light metal polish. I've used this many times and it works pretty good. In polishing this, you want to take care not to get polish on this. You can wax this, but don't use polish on that. This is not very corroded. I'm not sure how polish is going to even react to this aluminum here, but we'll give it a shot. Oh, it's cleaning up really well. Look at it. Look at how black that is. Automatically, it's black. So it's going to clean up a lot nicer than it looks, and I thought it looked pretty good already. So that's one coat. On this spot. Okay, so we're going from that, which, yeah, honestly, it didn't look great, but it didn't look bad too. Oh yeah, that's the way it's supposed to look. That looks not like new. So we'll just polish the whole thing like that. Except for that badge. We're not going to get polish on that badge. What surprises me is how fast it's working on this. I mean, that didn't take any time at all. See, you get that before. All right, so there it is, polished up. Put a little wax on that. Chrome came out real nice. The body came out real nice. Even the trigger polished up. So we're just gonna wait for the paint to dry. I suppose I should probably do something with this. But yeah, that Chemical Guys light metal polish did a great job. I decided to paint the stand and let it dry overnight. Just the top, because it didn't look that good. And a little bit of this will kind of help it. And it'll stop it from rusting any further. I have to learn to keep my phone away from here because it's going to get paint all over it. All right, and with that, we're done for the night. It's the next day. I decided to abandon this power cord. I got a better one that'll work a little bit easier, so we're just going to use this guy. It just looks better. Okay, so a couple things we need to do to prep. Our handle is done. This came out nice. Our end piece is straight. And we need to make sure that this all goes back in a certain order, and I'm going to take, there's a clip on here somewhere. I'm going to take that off this old power cord piece and put it on the new power cord when it goes through this, because that, I believe, was how they kept it from coming out. Not very well, honestly. Maybe I can do something better than that. Tie wrap or something. But yeah, that's it. That's all we've got to do to put this thing back together. So let's prepare what we're going to do. So I do have to solder one wire. So I'm going to shrink tube that after I solder it. I gotta get a piece of shrink tubing that'll work. Okay, so that's going to go all the way up. All the way up there and out of the way for now. And one end of this will go to the switch and one end will go to this wire. First thing we're going to do, we've got to slide this through. And for now, I'm going to tie a knot here. So what this knot will do is it will stop that from being pulled through. Okay, we've got some room in this handle to play. Well, thank heaven for small miracles. I found this screw on the floor. It must have come off when I was polishing the trigger on the switch. And it's so small I didn't hear it. Okay. All right, it has to go through that. It also has to go yeah, it's interesting how this switch goes. One would think that the wires on the switch would have been at the top. It certainly would make more sense because of the way the trigger is. But this switch was probably used for different things. So what we're going to do is we're also going to go all the way through the handle for that. So when we pull this thing together, let's make sure we got this thing oriented correctly. And we've got enough wire here. Should go like that. Now we've got a bit of extra wire here. Let's move this down. Okay. All right, let's go up through and let's wire up our switch. Okay, let's wire this up. Little solder. Put a little solder paste on that. Okay, that's all the soldering we have to do. This was an easy one. Unless, of course, something's wrong with it and it doesn't work. Okay. All right. In theory, we're all wired up. We're ready to kind of put this thing together. Put one of the wires in front of the switch. I don't want that. All right. I'm going to clean these up a little bit. Very carefully. Not making it too tight because I need to get this other screw lined up and in place. Okay. All right. So make sure it lines up. Okay. Our oilers lined up. Yep, there's our oilers. You can put oil in that thing when we're ready. All right. Not a lot of room for this. We're going to move this knot up even further. All right. That should be good. All right. So I don't like the way this switch is here. You can see the terminals. Zoom in on that. So you can see the terminals in there. So what I'm going to use is liquid electrical tape to cover those up. So I've got this stuff. I got it on Amazon. It came in a pack of 6 and it was considerably less expensive than what I was using. Because this is not a grounded unit, I don't want anything to touch the walls. So I'm even going to put some on the walls around the contacts of the switch. Maybe you do shake this, I don't know. All right, let's get back to this. How to do this without scratching this. Did it. Okay. All right, now our base is on. These are very small oiler holes, but we're going to try to get some oil in each one, and then we'll fire it up. I'll be right back. Oh, here's the oiler holes right there, and they are very small. Okay, normally I prefer to put a heavier oil in these things. These oilers are so small, I don't know if I'll be able to do it with this. I'm going to try it. If not, I'm going to have to go to 3-in-1, which, you know, I have a 3-in-1 that's made for small motors, but I prefer not to use such fine oil. All right, so I'm going to just push it on top there and hope it shoots in. Okay. As scary as it is, we are in a position where we can now test this guy. All right. So I'm putting on insulated gloves. And let me see if I can quickly find a power strip. I'll be right back. I found a power strip. So the reason why I like to use a power strip is because you never know, especially with these type of, I hate to use the term rinky-dink drills. This guy is a bit sketchy in design to begin with. It looks nice, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the power switch on here first to see if anything happens. I don't expect anything will, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, nothing happened. It's now juiced. Let's see if it turns on. I'm going to use one hand. Well, it works. And it actually sounds good. High power model 77J 1/4 inch electric drill. All right, there it is in the, oh, it does go like this. It goes like this. Oh yeah. So put in the stand, you got these two tabs here that go into that, and then it holds it like that. It even locks in. Oh, I see. So this guy can be wall mounted now. That's pretty cool. Wow, that is pretty cool. All right, that's it. Thanks to my brother at WhatTheRust for sending this over. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna put it on display here. I'm not gonna send it back to him. You know, this was a fun project and an easy project, really. Just a couple minor tricks to it, but this is similar to any old drill. Now, whereas this one, yeah, it's not really good for anything. It's too underpowered for any real use nowadays. It's more in the electric screwdriver category. But it's a good primer because most of these old drills are pretty much the same setup. You may find some, of course, that are 3-prong, which is a simple attaching the ground wire. But, you know, you can do one of these. So if you enjoyed this content, or if you enjoyed some of my previous content, please like and subscribe. It helps me, it helps my channel grow. Don't forget to head over to WhatTheRust and check out that channel as well. And, you know, if you find an old drill, doesn't have to be one of these, but if you find an old drill and you want to restore it, you just saw how to do it. It's not difficult at all. All you got to do is find the drill and then go out, get busy. Take care.